Hi, it's Ashley from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and welcome back to my channel where I make a lot of cake and cookie decorating tutorials as well as give a lot of baking business tips. So you might be watching this on Christmas Eve, but I'm sure most of you are going to be watching this on Christmas. So I wanted to be the first to wish you a very Merry Christmas. Today's video is not a tutorial, more like a day in the life of what it looks like a couple days before Christmas. And actually, I must admit that I work on these cookie and treat boxes all the way up until December 24th. So I had my sugar cookies all ready to go. As you guys know, I've been doing lots of different tutorials on that this past week, but I needed some quick recipes of things that I really love in treat boxes. So I'm first working on some macarons. I'm using a recipe from Pies and Tacos. I've done a video on this specifically before, and it's a great one that I go to when I don't want to make a huge batch and when I want to do the quick method. So this is going to be the French method macaron recipe that requires no wait time whatsoever. No resting, nothing like that. It can go straight into the oven. I will say that it does produce a tougher shell than my macarons that I usually make, but it's still really great, and it really satisfies that macaron craving. I've been seeing a lot of different treat boxes not really have a general theme. It's more just about packing in all of those treats. So I decided to go with that, and I already had a lot of traditional colors going on my cookies. So I decided to go with this frosty blue, which really goes well with that little sprinkle jar that I bought a little while back. I really do have to give props to this recipe because it works out every time, and I really like that it doesn't spread out too much. And you really don't have to deflate the meringue that much in this recipe either. Once you fold the ingredients together, it's pretty much already the right texture and it's ready to go. And fun fact, I did accidentally bake my template with the macarons. Very happy that nothing happened to that template. It just got a little bit drier in the oven. Now, if you've been a watcher of my channel, this should come as really no surprise to you at all that I would choose salted caramel for the macaron flavor. It's one of my favorite flavors. I love how it holds together really well, and everybody seems to like salted caramel in my family and friends group, so I decided to go with that with my no-fail caramel sauce and technique. And once that was off of the stove, I let it cool down a little bit. Then the macaron shells were ready. I used my Sultan piping tip so that I don't have to sit there outlining it. I can just easily pump that out really quickly. I went with a little light purple kind of outline, so that's what's going to show once the macarons are all closed up. And then, of course, it creates a really nice dam so I can put both the Nutella and the salted caramel inside. And to differentiate between the salted caramel and the Nutella flavor, I'm placing a little bit of that rock sugar on the salted caramel version. The macarons turned out pretty well, but I did notice that my one pan did brown them just a little bit, even though I baked them in the exact same oven using the same mat and everything. Luckily, I don't think anybody will mind too much. Now, moving along, I am browning the butter for my chocolate chip cookies. You guys know I love using that recipe. Again, every time I do a treat box or a dessert table of some sort, I have to have those. I do a little bit of a variation by adding some scorbits in though. While that browned butter is cooling down, I am making my ginger molasses cookies here, and I love a really good, chewy and soft cookie with just a little bit slight of a crisp outside, and these are my sister's favorite as well, so I had to make them for this box. While everything is setting in the fridge at the varying times, I actually like to get everything scooped out first and then put it back in the fridge. It just makes things so much easier in terms of cleaning and preparation. I always find that when it comes down to the baking time, everything seems to happen at once. So this way I get a little bit of a leg up on that, and I also can get those bowls nice and ready and clean because I'm going to be making some cream puffs later on. So before we get to the choux pastry, I'm going to create the craquelin, and I did debate about dyeing this a green color and turning my cream puffs into trees, but then I figured, you know what, I think people tend to like my natural colored foods, especially since this is going to be mainly for adults. I find kids like it when it's zany colors, but adults for the most part like to eat just the regular color food. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm creating the choux pastry here, and then I'm just going to spoon it out, really make it easy on myself. Whenever I am using the craquelin, I never pipe my choux pastry, though you totally could, especially if you're going to do this with eclairs, then that's what I would do. I used both a pro mat and parchment paper. I really didn't notice too much of a difference in the baking of this. So if I had the pro mats on hand and I had a number of them, I would definitely use that only because I wouldn't have to cut up the parchment. I'm also re-rolling that crackling too because I always find that it never is enough to cover all of those cream puffs. Each cream puff gets a little medallion of the crackling and they come out so beautifully. I love how they come out so perfect and nice and hollow every single time when I use that recipe. Creating treat boxes is all about that timing, so while I was doing all of those other jobs, the ginger molasses cookies were setting in the fridge, and this particular recipe said that it needed to rest for at least an hour, so I let it do that, and now it's finally ready to be rolled in the granulated sugar. I didn't really double any of the cookie recipes this time around because I don't have as many recipients, but this time I did decide to make that quite large of a cookie. So once everything had come out of the oven, I was finally ready to start filling these cream puffs. I did a really simple filling of Nutella whipped cream with a little bit of mascarpone. It's really, really delicious and really nice and stable in there as well, which is why I chose that filling. But as I was filling these, I was almost done. I think I only had about 3 or 4 cream puffs left to fill, and then all of a sudden, explosion. I don't know why that happened. It wasn't like I put a ton of pressure on this bag, but it was a sad time. And luckily for you guys, it looks like the cream puff mess was cleaned up within about 10 seconds. Did take a little bit longer, but it only slowed me down minimally. Finally, everything was ready to go and ready to be packaged. But of course, whenever you have items in your dessert box that need to be refrigerated, I always try to wait till the last minute just so that everything stays nice and fresh. I really had great dreams of getting super cool cookie packaging and dessert packaging this year, but I ended up just going with plain bakery boxes. Time really got away from me this season. So I think I'm going to make it a goal for next year to really do something super fun with the way that I package. I really love everything I came up with. I just think that my packaging could use a little bit of work. However, my goal for this was just to really stuff things nice and full and provide everybody with all the sweet treats that I know they love. I didn't package anything the same way twice for people because everybody has different size families and adults and children, so I switched things up for each box. I am making this platter for Christmas Eve dinner, which will ultimately be left with my parents, so I decided to go a little bit fancier with these cream puffs and add on a small little touch of that green with a little snowflake sprinkle. Now, I know I generally provide pricing, but I really didn't price these out. However, I would venture to say that this would be around $50 to $120 per box. But that is a very loose and generalized pricing guide this time around. Now let's get into the subscriber submission of the video. I love these. I love it when people use those little tiny chocolate bars on top of whatever, cakes, cupcakes, anything. So be sure to go and drop them a like and drop them a comment. And if you want to be the next subscriber submission of the video, then please follow me at SD Bake Shop on Instagram, where you can either tag me in a photo or send me a photo. All and any dessert levels are welcome. And that was the final video of Vlogmas. I am so glad that I got to spend time with you guys every day this holiday season, but we will be going back to once a week uploads after this. I hope you guys spend so much time with your family and friends this holiday season. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading weekly, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys. Bye!